Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Warpforge. Always excited to say that because we've got some actual news to talk about and I've been waiting for this. Sort of figured this might be coming Tuesday or Thursday this week, and it is Thursday, and we do finally have a bit of an idea of what's to come, what EG is working on for the game. And as someone who put out a video that definitely drummed up a lot of concern and a lot of critique, and we saw a little bit of a response to some of that shortly after, which was, sort of a step in the right direction, basically saying, hold on, we're going to tell you what's coming up. We do have future plans. We do kind of hear that there have been issues. We're going to try and address some of the bugs and stuff like that. And so it was a good step in the right direction. And although I looked this over quickly, just kind of wanted to go through this with everyone because really the only reason that I'm not doing a ton of Warpforge content is obviously I'm doing more with Shadowverse and I'm really enjoying that. But that's mostly because I was not enjoying Warpforge as much. I think both games can be here on the channel. I really hope that that's something to do in the future. And so finally, we will take a look at what is to come, parting the veil. Let's see what we got. Just to scroll through what we already know. Here are some, I think, welcome changes, and I'm really glad to see this. And I felt like in that one clause where they were like, we know content is not the only way to update the game, I was like, this should be a nod to whether it's the UI, whether it's rewards, chests, the ability for people to be free to play. I was hoping that we'd see stuff like this. So what do they say here? We are taking a hard look into the game's interface and experience to improve the first contact players have with the game. Yes, this has been a continual issue. It's kind of the game UI and everything feels very bloated. I don't think there are enough tutorials now with how many factions there are because of all of the new content. So that's good to know. Currently, things can feel overwhelming. Path forward for beginners isn't very clear. Very true. We're working on a cleaner, leaner interface that clearly showcases what players can do and how they can earn new cards to power up their collection. Never underestimate the power of a clean and clear UI, especially when you're trying to grow your game, right? And we're in this second full year, or a little bit more, of Warpforge, but really we're only coming up on the year anniversary of the official release. So, that's kind of why it's important to have these call to actions, because once things start to slip, it can be really hard to recover. And it seems like maybe this summer and moving forward, this is a way for them to step up their game. At the same time, and they shout out, the reward system has remained largely unchanged. Very true. It's one of the things I talked about in my video. While we're quite happy with the campaign system as a way to ease players into the new factions, although again, making it so you have to go premium to get a starter deck just inherently feels very strange to me. I know some people, talk about the nodes compensate you for that. That's maybe better. Just on its face, I think as a new player to not have the starter deck without paying just feels odd. So I hope they can kind of think about that as well. We want to revisit the current mission, daily, and rank rewards. Excellent. Missions are way too hyper specific, too costly to reroll, very clunky. Dailies, being that you have to knock out when you initially join the game, actually as a new player, you have basically, it feels like almost infinite missions to get through, and sort of like gets your collection and like enough campaign points going. But then you quickly hit that wall and you have to do 3, or you do like 6 in a sitting, and then they unlock at a certain time. The whole timing windows of weekly chests, daily rewards, all that has always been a bit off. So I'm really glad they're looking at that, and rank rewards to make them more approachable. So first thing you can take out of the book of many things, especially as someone who's been playing Shadowverse quite a lot lately, is reward people for ranking up, right? It's cool to get that card back at the end of the season if you're top 50. That is something that I always shot for. But like being in Legendary or getting to Legendary, like as far as I remember, there's not any reward other than the rank itself. Sorry, still waking up here, folks. And I think that there's a lot to be said for like, wow, if I got like, a couple all army packs every time I ranked up, or if I have a specific campaign, I'll get like a couple of those packs every time I level up, or like 3,000 crystals once I hit, gold or something, just making the ranked experience, especially as a starter player, feel like more than just achieving a number, which is frankly what a lot of the rank system feels like, is just grinding to hit that point on the leaderboard or to, hit a certain number. That's cool. Sometimes that's enough incentive. But the fact that there's basically no real reason outside of a card back, outside of the crystals, and yes, you get a legendary if you're top 50, I believe, or in the top percent, I forget. That really doesn't matter so much. So I think it's good for them to look at literally all of that. So that's really great to hear. Okay, new styles, more frequent timed events. We want more to happen in Warpforge. 100%. I just want to shout out, there's like constant posts and events that happen in Horus Heresy Legions, which, great. I love that there are people still really dedicated to that game and that community. I've played it on and off here and there. It feels weird that Warpforge doesn't have that, as it's the newer game and to some degree kind of like the updated version of HHL. So to see more activity in the older game than the newer one just does feel strange. Oftentimes the only new activity that you see are like new bundles and new ways to spend money, not new things for the actual game. So this is a very important point here. We're preparing to roll out new Warlord styles, which they rolled out with Abaddon, and generally I think that's a positive for the game. We're exploring new ways to collect them beyond simply spending gold. Okay. So I'm not sure what that means. I guess maybe there's like a special collection. I mean, I hope it's not something like the Vault or something where it's like trying to incentivize people to pay to get styles. I won't be too negative in this video because a lot of this is really great. But I guess this stuff sometimes worries me. In the same vein, we have usually reserved timed events in the game as a celebration for major releases like new factions or expansions, right? It's kind of like this huge burst of stuff happening, and then everything slows to a crawl for like a month and a half, for the way that cards are time gated, they're battle pass gated or what have you. So there's like a burst of excitement, but then it kind of like really quickly dies down, and then there's not a ton happening. So they say we want to change that heading into the future, introducing a steady rhythm of events, bringing fresh challenges and unique rewards. Stay tuned for more information. Excellent. This is again, they're knocking it out of the park with this. There's more that we could be doing. And here we get a Q3, Q4 roadmap. So the newest thing, and it's really coming up very soon, we've got the new reinforcement drop, daily rank reward update, UI overhaul, new styles, new timed events. So we're going to be getting an Eldar reinforcement drop, if you can tell from the graphic here. And then all of these other kind of quality of life changes should also be coming in Q3, right? So all of this roughly should be hitting before or by the end of September. So July is probably going to focus around the reinforcement drop. Maybe August is where they kind of roll out a lot of new things pretty quickly, or they use August and September to cover the bulk of that. And then, excitingly, in Q4, as we do always get excited about new content, we're going to have a full new faction, a new expansion, and then they're going to add more timed events. So we'll probably get a little bit of a preview in August of what are these new timed events. Do we like them? Do we not like them? And then hopefully can provide some level of feedback, because then they'll be adding more moving forward. New faction, new expansion. Always exciting to talk about. New faction, I think, in terms of bringing something, relatively different into the game, although I think there are some similarities between Emperor's Children and the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar, because they're both just kind of sick and crazy and wild and all that stuff. Having Drukhari in the game, I think, would be pretty sweet. I think Votann would also be very cool. I would be super hyped for Votann. I just don't know that that's a very popular or supported faction within Warhammer 40k. So I guess we'll see. But that's always really exciting. And as I've been saying, I think since we got expansions, I really think Tyranids deserve the new expansion. I think they've been playing with kind of the same strategies, the same sort of, play patterns, and not a ton of diversity for a very long time. They were the first reinforcement we got, which was, I think over time was more impactful, but in the immediate Aftermath was pretty nothing. So I really think if you want to expand a faction to have more viability, more ways to play, which is what I understand the expansions to be doing, that would be a good place to put it. So fingers crossed. Definitely let me know in the comments of what factions you would like to see, what expansions you'd like to see, and why. I'd be really curious to see what people have to say in that discussion. And so here they talk a little bit about their new content. So while for a time we want to focus less on new content and more on features and ways to play the game, big clap here. And I really do apologize to EG as a person that's a part of the content creator program. Like, if you guys had this all planned along and it just took a bit of time to communicate it, and I and BJ and maybe some other people called it out, I hope that it shows our passion, right? And if we did influence that, I'm happy, because I genuinely think this is a huge win for the game. We need a bit of a facelift. We need a bit of updating. And it's exciting. Maybe some of the folks joining my channel for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond will also, take a gander at Warpforge, which tends to, really just kind of hide in the shadows for the diehard fans. So, yes, please focus on all those things that are not content, but they're still committed to delivering the epicness that defines Warhammer 40k. We love new cards. Never going to be sad about that. That means that, of course, new content is on the way. We can't share much, which is funny. But know that our new reinforcement drop, a new faction, and an expansion featuring a much anticipated character are currently in the works. An expansion featuring a much anticipated character. Ooh. Okay, so there's probably more to speculate about that. Anticipated character. I'm trying to think who that would be. I mean, there's the Primarchs that are still alive, but that would be kind of surprising if they expanded like Dark Angels or Ultramarines. I feel like that would be kind of misplaced. Interesting. Okay, I wonder if there. I mean, I've been doing more and more reading of Warhammer 40k. I have so many authors I'm in love with now that did a ton of reading this summer, but I guess I'm probably missing something here. I'd be curious whoever might have a good idea on that. Stay tuned to our social media, because the first of these new pieces of content will be announced soon. New reinforcement drop for the Eldar will be coming your way later this month as soon as they get the relic armor and find it and secure it. It will also join the game with a new raid event. So rally your decks and prepare. Okay. This is also something to feel positive about. So raids, I think, from the get-go have not done well. They were too long initially, and then they shortened them. And then, frankly, I was kind of like, okay, we'll have a raid for a week. The 8th day, I will be able to open packs and get cards and what have you. And that doesn't feel that bad if I don't want to pay into the raid. I hope maybe they've also spent some time on making this new raid event feel better, maybe for the average player. So that's also, I didn't catch that little tidbit when I first read through this. So that's exciting. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about here. If all of this sort of work, especially around not so much the new content, but the actual functionality of the game improves, I think this is a huge win for trying to right the ship for Warpforge, right? It's not that Warpforge needs to be some viral sensation when it comes to card games or whatever else. Would I love more people to know about it and be interested in it? 100%. But, I don't have any illusions that this is going to be a Hearthstone-like competitor. But I do think it really has something here. Whether it's the immersion into the world, at times what feels like a cool faction identity, cool mechanics, very quick gameplay. That's something that I think people do really enjoy about Warforged, is how quick it can be. You can pick up games and put them down in 5 to 10 minutes. And a lot of mobile games actually have gotten longer with card games. There's a lot that Warforged has going for it, and I think we just kind of like lost the plot a little bit in sort of how releases were happening this year. And I think that there's a lot to be looking forward to. And I'll definitely be doing, I would say overall less Warforged content. That's been pretty obvious here on the channel. But whether it's covering like updates or things I've already commented on, or obviously new content altogether. I plan on being here for it. I still really love this game, and I really hope that it gets the flowers that it deserves, and that it also deserved those flowers by improving itself. So, lots to be excited about and interested in here, and this I think is a huge win for the community and for all the people who have been very active in it. Yeah, I'm just really interested to hear everyone's thoughts. I'll be putting this video out a little bit later than when I'm recording, but yeah, really interested to hear the hype, the worries, and I don't think there are many coming from this post, but also just the excitement for the future. So stock up, I guess, on your Eldar packs. We've got that reinforcement coming very soon. I think it's potentially in a week or two, or by the end of this month at the very least. That's something to be excited for, alongside all these other changes to the actual Warpforge game itself. So thanks as always for sticking with me. It's nice to be back here talking about Warpforge again, and I will catch you guys in the next one.